Hello, we'll be discussing these topics which are very important and you can also understand them as expected questions from history. So, a total of these topics are six. We'll understand them one by one. Let's get started. The first one is about Veer Savarkar. The important thing about Veer Savarkar, and especially why this is in news, is because on the 28th of May is where India pays tribute to the freedom fighter, that is Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. Okay, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar is also known as Veer Savarkar, and the 28th of May is what? It is his birth anniversary. Okay. So, who exactly was Veer Savarkar? Veer Savarkar was an Indian independence activist, politician, lawyer, and a writer. He is also known as Swatantra Veer Savarkar. So, another name that you need to remember is Swatantra Veer Savarkar. He was born on the 28th of May in the year 1883 in Bhagpur, which is in Maharashtra. So, some of the important things that you need to remember pertaining to Veer Savarkar, that is, in relation to his organizations and work, is the fact that he founded a secret society which is called Abhinav Bharat Society. So, we'll first write down all the names of the organizations and the movements he was associated with. He was also associated with India House and Free India Society. And he was also involved in the formation of Hindu Mahasabha. For that matter, he was the president of the Hindu Mahasabha from 1937 to 1943. So this is about all the organizations that he was associated with. We'll discuss some of the very important points pertaining to these four organizations. But before that, let's discuss some of his important works. So from the exams perspective, you have to understand that Savarkar wrote the book that is History of War of Indian Independence. This history of war of Indian independence is where he discusses at a great detail the guerrilla warfare tricks that were used by in the famous 1857 Sepoy Mutiny, or which is also famously known as the First War of Independence. Okay, and another book that he wrote was the Hindutva, who is a Hindu. So these are the two important literatures that you need to remember from the exams purpose. Now, Abhinav Bharat Society, India House, Free Indian Society, and Hindu Mahasabha. The reason why these organizations and movements are so important is because of the famous personalities that are associated with it and the things that they stood for. So let's first talk about Abhinav Bharat Society. You see, it was a secret society. It was a secret society which was founded by Savarkar and his brother, who was Ganesh Damodar Savarkar. This was done in the year 1904. Initially, it was founded at Nasik. The society was associated with several revolutionaries and political activists with branches in various parts of India, and please don't forget, in various parts of India and also in London. So these are the important points pertaining to Abhinav Bharat Society. Then let's discuss the India House. India House was basically founded by Shyamji Krishna Verma. Shyamji Krishna Verma in the year 1905 in where? In London. What was the objective here? The objective was basically that it was an open place for the nationalists to come and discuss the ideas, so that basically the concept of nationalism or the idea of nationalism basically grows amongst the Indian students who were living in London. Then Free India Society is also very important. It was a political organization of Indian students who were living in London, committed to obtaining the independence of India from British rule. Initially, it was an intellectual group only, but it changed its status and it became a revolutionary. It became a revolutionary outfit under the founding leader, that is Madam Kama. So these are the important things that you need to remember. Please remember the places and also the name of the important leaders. Then lastly, Hindu Mahasabha. You see, Hindu Mahasabha was a political party that was founded in the year 1933. It was founded by three important personalities, of course, Savarkar, then Lala Lajpat Rai, and Madan Mohan Malviya. So these three important personalities, remember them. The reason behind the formation of Hindu Mahasabha was that the organization was formed to protect the rights of Hindu community after the formation of the very important, that is All India Muslim League. Now, All India Muslim League is something which was founded in the year 1906. So, as a form of a retaliation, something that will protect the rights of Hindu community, they formed the Hindu Mahasabha. And also, it was that British India government creation of separate Muslim electorate under the Merli Minto reforms of 1909. But the main reason was the formation of the All India Muslim League. So these are all the important points you need to remember pertaining to Veer Savarkar. Now let's discuss the second concept, which is Khudai Khidmatgar. You see, Khudai Khidmatgar movement is a very important movement in history for various reasons. But the reason why it was in news is because recently it has been 92 years for Qissa, Khwani, Baazar massacre. You see, all massacres are extremely important from the historical perspective because this is where we actually understand the nature of how forces were basically used against Indians by the British. So, like Jallianwala Bagh, Qissa Khwani Bazaar massacre is another important massacre. Qissa Khwani Bazaar was the site of massacre perpetrated by the British soldiers against the non-violent protesters of the Kudai Khidmatgar movement on April 23 in the year 1930. So these are the important things that you need to know. Please understand, if the question is on Qissa Khwani Bazaar massacre, please immediately understand that we're talking about the Khudai Khidmatgar movement and its associated people. Now, a little bit about Khudai Khidmatgar movement. Khudai Khidmatgar movement was, as you can see here, it was a non-violent movement against British occupation of the Indian subcontinent, and it was led by the very famous ruler, that is Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Abdul Ghaffar Khan was basically a Pashtun freedom fighter in the northwest frontier province. So this is the location and this is the important leader. So the movement turned political when the British took notice of its growing prominence in the region. Followed by the arrest of Khan and other leaders in the year 1929, the movement formally joined the Indian National Congress. So Khudai Khidmatgar movement later joined INC. Okay, it joined INC and not the Indian Muslim League for the simple reason because that they failed to gather support from the latter, that is from the All India Muslim League. Now, the important things that you need to remember pertaining to Khudai Khidmatgar movement is the uniforms. Now you see, under the movement, both men and women were participating. But their uniforms is something which is extremely important for you to understand. Men basically wore red shirts as the uniform and women wore black garments. So remember these important points. So these are the important things that you need to know about Khudai Khidmatgar movement. But this personality that we're talking about here, that is the leader, Abdul Ghaffar Khan, he is a very important personality. Okay. So let's know a little bit about Abdul Ghaffar Khan also. Just the very important points that he was also famously called as Frontier Gandhi. Ghaffar basically met Gandhi and entered politics in the year 1919 during the agitation over the Rowlatt Acts, which allowed the confinement of political dissidents without any trial. In the 1920, he joined the Khilafat movement, and in the year 1987, he was awarded the Bharat Ratna Prize, the highest Indian honor that can be given to the civilian. He was also the first non-Indian to receive this honor. So please understand this very important point. Who was the first person to receive this? This was Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Another non-Indian to receive the Bharat Ratna is also Nelson Mandela and Mother Teresa. So this is an additional bit. Please remember it. The next concept that we have to discuss is Chandra Shekhar Azad. So, firstly, the reason it is in news is because on the 23rd of July, India pays tribute to its freedom fighter Azad as this is his birth anniversary. Now, Azad was born in the year 1906 in Madhya Pradesh. Okay. As a 15-year-old student, he joined the non-cooperation movement. So remember the all movements and the organizations that he was a part of. He was a part of the non-cooperation movement at the age of 15. On being presented before a magistrate, he gave his name Azad, and Azad basically means what? It basically means the free. His father's name was Swatantrata, independence, and his residence as jail. Therefore, he came to be famously known as Chandra Shekhar Azad. Now, he's most famous for his contribution to the freedom movement. He was the main personality under the Hindustan Republican Association. Okay, some of the members of the Hindustan Republican Association were Sachindra Nath Sanyal, Narendra Mohan Sen, Pratul Ganguly, and also, of course, Azad. Right? Then he was also associated in the Kakori conspiracy. This was basically robbing of government's property, very important Kakori conspiracy. This plan, Kakori conspiracy, was executed by Azad, Bismil, Ashfaqullah Khan, Rajendra Lahiri, and also Man Matnath Gupta. So these are the important things. And then he was also associated with Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. This was Hindustan Republican Association, HRA. This is HRSA. S here basically means socialist. It is nothing new. It's simple. The relationship between these two organizations here, this and this, was simply that HRA was later reorganized as Hindustan Socialist Republican Army. It was established in the year 1928 as Firozshah Kotla, which is in New Delhi, by who? By Azad himself. Along with Azad, there was also Bhagat Singh, Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee, and also Ashfaqullah Khan. Okay. So HRSA planned the shooting of JP Saunders. Now, who exactly is JP Saunders? It is the same person who killed Lala Lajpat Rai. So these are the important information about Chandrashekhar Azad. Please remember them, and also it's imperative that you remember all these corporations. All these movements and the different societies that were founded by him. Okay. Now, the next one is the national flag of India. Very important. You see, India will basically celebrate its 76th Independence Day in 2022. And like every year, the Prime Minister of India will hoist the national flag at the Red Fort to commemorate the day. The design of the national flag is what? It is a tricolor. Okay. It is largely attributed to who? It attributed to Pingali Venkaya, who was an Indian freedom fighter. He proposed a basic design of the flag consisting of two red and green bands to symbolize the two major communities. So, two red and green, red basically symbolize the Hindus and green symbolize the Muslims. Mahatma Gandhi arguably suggested that instead of having two red and two green bands, it would be better to have a white band to represent peace and the rest of the communities living in India, with along that a spinning wheel to symbolize the progress of the country. The same take was given by who? Gandhi on the same flag by Pingali, right? So what did Gandhi suggest? Gandhi suggested that it should have a white band and a spinning wheel. So this is an important bit. Now something about the national flag of India. In the year 1906, arguably the first national flag of India is said to have been hoisted on the 7th of August in the year 1906 at Kolkata at the Parsi Bagan Square, which is also famously called as the Green Park. It comprised of three horizontal stripes of, so that it was red, yellow, and green, and it also had Vande Matram written in the middle. This is very important. Then in the year 1907, Madam Kama, that we have just discussed above, and her group of exiled revolutionary hoisted the national flag for the first time outside of India, and that was where? It was in Germany in the year 1907. and this was the first national flag to be hoisted on a foreign land. So please remember it is Germany, right? Then in the year 1917, Annie Besant and Lokmanya Tilak adopted a new flag as a part of the Home Rule movement. Okay, and of course, we have discussed already the Pingali Venkaya's flag, which was a tricolor and on which Gandhi basically had to give his 2 cents on the structure of the and also the design of the flag. So this was in the year 1931. So these are all the important things. Please remember them pertaining to the national flag of India. Now let's get to the next concept that we have to discuss. This is Raja Ram Mohan Roy. You see, Raja Ram Mohan Roy was the father of, he's also known as the father of modern India's Renaissance. He was a social reformer who inaugurated the age of enlightenment and liberal, let me write it here, liberal reformist modernization in India. So the reason why he inaugurated the age of enlightenment and also liberal reformist modernization is India for the simple reason because he was a rational critique of Hindu idol worship. He devoted his life in bringing religious, social, and political reforms. In November 1930, he sailed for England to present there the counteract, the possible nullification of the act banning the sati. And the reason why there is a Raja here is because it is a title. So this title was something that was given to Ram Mohan Roy by who? By Akbar II. Akbar II was the Mughal emperor of Delhi. So in his address, sorry, entitled The Inaugurator of the Modern Age in India, Tagore referred to Ram Mohan Roy as the luminous star in the Indian history. So please remember these points. Who was responsible behind the title of Raja? It was Akbar II, the Mughal emperor. Okay. Then who called him the luminous star in the Indian history? It was Rabindranath Tagore. And the reason why he is regarded as the father of modern India Renaissance and somebody who brought in liberal reformist modernization in India and also the age of enlightenment is for these reasons that have been discussed here. Okay. Now, something about his personal ideology. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was attracted to Islamic monotheism, and at the same time, he was also attracted to Vedanta. His idea of single Unitarian God was corrective to polytheism of Orthodox Hindu and Christian ideology. He believed that monotheism supported one universal model for humanity. Okay, he characterized sati as the violation of every human and social feeling and as symptomatic of modern debasement of a race. So these are the important things that you need to remember. Please remember he was against the sati for the simple reasons that we just discussed. And this is all about Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Now the last personality that we have to discuss is Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. The reason why this personality is important is because the Indian Prime Minister paid homage to Rishi Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay on his Jayanti, that is the 27th of June. Now, something about him. Who exactly was he? He was one of the greatest novelists and poets of India. So, poet and novelist. He was born on the 27th of June in 1838 at the village of Kanthapura in the town of North 24 Pargana, which is in West Bengal. He composed the song, the very famous song that is Vande Mataram. But the important point that you have to understand here is that he composed this song Vande Mataram, which is the national song of India, in what language? It was in Sanskrit. This Vande Mataram also became a source of inspiration to the people in their freedom struggle. And he was in government service for 32 years and retired in 1891, and he died in the year 1894. Some of his important contribution to India's freedom struggle is his epic novel Anand Madh. Anand Math is basically set in the background of the Sannyasi rebellion. Sannyasi rebellion is again very important for the exam. Sannyasi rebellion, something about it. It happened in 1770 and 1820. Went on till 1820. When Bengal was basically facing a famine, this basically made Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay an influential figure on Bengali Renaissance to script all of this, and this is what we read in his literature or novel, that is Anandmat. He kept the people of Bengal intellectually stimulated through his literary campaign. India got its national song that we've just discussed above, Vande Mataram, from Anandmat. So Vande Mataram is also given in Anand Mat. Remember these important points. And he also founded a monthly literary magazine, that is Banga Darshan, in the year 1872. This magazine stopped in the year 1880s, but it was resurrected by Rabindranath Tagore with its, let me just write it here. It was later done again by Rabindranath Tagore when Tagore became its editor, and the year is 1901. So these are all the important points that you need to remember pertaining to Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. So I hope this was informative. Thank you for watching.